Kisa is a Black woman who grew up at the knees of three generations of Black women, all of whom were amazing cooks. She is accustomed to eating food obtained and created via Black foodways, and she's very proud of that fact. Reared in the tradition of taking simple foods and transforming them into delicious savories and rich, decadent desserts, she's not willing to compromise on flavor or texture. However, suffering from migraines and typically pre-diabetic, as well as being a member of a family with a history of diabetes, cancers, and neurodegenerative diseases, she's gone vegan again. Kisa is also a psychotherapist working to find effective tools and methods to support mental and emotional healing. And because food impacts functioning, mood, and energy, she's veganizing much of her beloved heritage and cultural foods using plant-based ingredients, nutritional psychology, and food science to support and share with as many people as possible as they journey towards healthy living. Kisa is dedicated to the wellness of folks who have traditionally lived to eat and now know they must eat to live a long and bountiful life. Kisa, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm excited to be here this evening. Super duper excited. I've not done a virtual demo, so this is a stretch for me, you guys. Bear with me. I'm trying to set up and get everything under the camera. Usually I do demos in person because I like to be with the people. But I am super excited to be here. And Angie's going to field your questions and throw them at me. If we have downtime throughout the preparation, or we'll just do a big fat Q&A at the end, okay? But we've got a whole lot of stuff to cover. We're going to veganize a chicken pot pie. And chicken pot pie, we recently found a video of me, and I sent it to our little family thread, and I'd made a chicken pot pie, a veganized chicken pot pie. And I remembered with such fondness, like I don't know if any of you do, but remember the chicken pot pies that came frozen, you put them in the oven, and then when they were done, you flipped them over, you broke the crust, you ate them, but it burned the crap out of your mouth. Do you remember that? I had that experience, and I sent that to my family for the last chicken pot pie that I had made. But I remember those days with fondness. Chicken pot pie is an amazing comfort food. And so let's get into making the component parts and then throwing the whole thing together. Let's do it. Let's get into it. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take and make some cashew milk. Now, if you have the recipes, you might want to get a pen to scribble on to the recipes because I riff a lot. I do a lot of improv. So there may be some things here that are not quite on the recipe that you want to put on there, or some stuff that you might want to just put a note next to. All right, so in order to make cashew milk, we have, let's see, I think I should put this, oh, you can see it, can't you? There it is. I've got cashews here. And under these cashews, I don't know if you can see this, they're soaking in water, and there are dates under here. So I'm going to drain all of this water off of here, and then I'm going to throw that into my blender, okay? So give me just a second. I'm going to drain that. I'm going to come back over here. Now you'll be able to see underneath these cashews were dates. So if you're making cashew milk, say for the kiddos to drink with or to have with cereal, or even for your coffee, you're going to want to put cashew and dates together and soak them. You can soak them for a few hours. You can soak them overnight. I'm going to put a pinch of salt in there because my mama taught me you always put a pinch of salt whenever you have something sweet. So these things are going to go kind of away. And we're going to put in 4 cups of water. Now, here's the difference between just making cashew milk because you need to have it in the house versus making cashew milk that you're going to use, say, for making the cream inside of our chicken pot pie. So for making the cream in our chicken pot pie, you don't have to put the dates, okay? You don't have to put the dates. You don't have to make it sweet at all. If you have it, it's fine. You're going to season this milk up, and it's going to cream up, and it's going to take on the flavor that you need it to take on. But This is going to get loud, so I'm going to let this go. And you want to hit this for about a minute. That's high speed.
Kisa, we're wondering, we have our very first question tonight. Do
I,
those dates have pits in them? That's from Kim K and Tom P.
okay, that's done. Angie, did you say something?
Yes, we have our first question tonight
Okay.
from Kim K and Tom P. Do the
Yeah.
dates have pits in them?
No, make sure they are pitted so that they have the dates already extracted from them. All right, I'm going to do a thing with, we laugh at this in my house. This is called a nut bag. This is a milk nut bag or a nut milking bag, however you want to call it. I kind of do a super strain on my cashew milk, okay? So I take the bag, I set it in a sieve. This is a fine mesh sieve. I put it over a bowl. I pour my milk in. And this is going to be able to catch all of the little kind of pulp from the dates, all of the bits and pieces from the cashew milk. I'm going to close this up. Nice little drawstring there. Now, what I generally do when I make cashew milk, I make cashew milk in the morning and then I'll go take my shower. I will leave this on the counter. I'll take my first couple of patients and I'll come back about lunchtime and then I will start to kind of milk this. At the end of the demo, we're going to hit this again. We're going to see what this has done. We're going to see how much has drained out of here. You can see some. I think you can see some has drained already. Let's see if why can't I make that show? There we go. All right, so some of that is draining already. I'm just going to cover this up. And that's it. That's cashew milk. You guys, my hair came down and I don't like hair in my kitchen, so I'm going to wrap my hair back up. The next thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to get ready to do some butter. And I will show you some butter. My butter recipe is on my website, KisaVeganizer.com. It is also on the YouTube channel. I'm going to wash my hands. I'll be right back.
While Kisa's washing her hands, I just want to say that we grew up in a house where we used butter, like butter was a staple, real butter. And I knew at a young age, we knew at a young age the difference between butter and margarine. And long story short, Kisa's veganized butter is really good. I've had it on, I've had it with savory foods. I've had it with muffins, her homemade muffins in the morning, and I cannot tell the difference, and that says a lot. And you're back.
Thanks, Angie. So this vegan butter recipe is from Miyoko Skinner. It is out of her, I think it's called the Vegan Pantry, Homemade Vegan Pantry. And it is a staple in my home to have butter. One of the things that kept me from being so vegan was fat. Like, I'm sorry, but I love fat. And I know that all fats are not good for me. So to find a really good fat that was made with some decent saturated fat, as well as some other cleaner ingredients was really, really important. Baking it's fun for me. It's part of the thing that I do. So, yeah, let's get into this butter recipe. Now, why are we making butter? We made milk because we're going to cream up the vegetables and the meat to make the interior of the pot pie. But we're making butter because we're going to make a pie crust. Of course, right? So we need butter. Let me grab a spatula and I'll show you what we're going to use to make this. So right here, we've got the bulk of what vegan butter is, you guys. Vegan butter is a lot of coconut oil, okay? It is still a saturated fat, but it is not containing like the cholesterol and in stuff like the tallow from cow's fat or even lard or things like that, right? So we've got a different kind of quality of fat going on here. All right, so this is a double recipe, you guys. You're looking at this and you're like, oh my gosh, Kisa, that is not what's in the recipe. This is a double portion of the recipe. And generally what I do is I will measure, or I should say I will weigh this out. So if you want to know how this works, this is 640 grams of coconut oil. It's going into this blender cup. And if you guys want to know who the magic hands are behind me, who grabs all the stuff, that is my love, Teresa. I'm also going to hit this with 94 grams. Again, this is a double recipe of sunflower oil. Okay, so of course, butter is fat. It has a lot of oil in it. We're not gonna poo-poo this, right? Because we use it sparingly and we use it just for what we need. But we want to have a good choice, a good option for when we do need fat. All right, so we've got basically a half a cup of sunflower oil. Next thing we're going to hit this with is, oh, I've got to get it out of the refrigerator. But I will tell you what this is. This is interesting. This is sunflower lecithin. I tried to keep it in a dark container and covered before the demo so that it could stay, so that it wouldn't dry out. But basically, it is this. Okay, so I don't know if I should do that like that. This is it's extracted from sunflowers. It's the sticky, gooey stuff that comes out of sunflowers, and there's not a whole lot of processing here that's going on here. Literally the ingredients, and remember, part of this demo is so you can figure out what are things that I can buy at the store, what are things that I can use to process food myself, what are some store-bought things I can get. The ingredients here are liquid sunflower lecithin. That's what it is. It's extract from sunflowers, okay? So we can eat this. This is good. It is goopy as all get out. It is sticky. What is it doing in this recipe? It's the emulsifier. It's the thing that brings everything together and makes it creamy, okay? So that is its job. It doesn't have a flavor particularly. Here you go. And then I've got two more items to put into this bowl. This next item is yogurt. And I like to use an almond milk Greek style yogurt because I'm making butter. I want all the fluffy, creamy stuff. And so I got the fluffiest, creamiest yogurt I could find. Okay. I don't know. I feel like this is a weird shadow, you guys, but this is, again, we're doubling this recipe. So in grams, this is 295, 300 grams of yogurt. Okay. Which in, let's see, plain speak is about a half a cup. A half a cup for one recipe, a whole cup for the double recipe, okay? And then last thing that needs to go in here, where's my salt? I did. Because I'm doubling this recipe, I need a whole teaspoon of salt, okay? I don't use unsalted butter in vegan recipes, you guys. I just don't. Because I get to control all of these ingredients, I get to control how much salt I'm putting in things. So I don't have to worry that things are going to be too salty if I know how much salt I actually put into that recipe, okay? All right, we're going to get ready to put this on the blender. And this needs to go for a full minute, but really not past a full 2 minutes, okay? And also, if you check this out on my YouTube channel, and you see my butter recipe, you're going to notice a difference. I didn't melt this coconut oil this time. I've learned over time that I don't need to melt that coconut oil. In fact, if I do melt it, then when I go to put it in the refrigerator for everything to solidify, that starts to break up too early. It will not hold together very well. And I can see a separation in my butter, and I don't want that, okay? So here we go.
Kisa,
Yes.
I have a question. This is for me. I'm wondering if the sunflower uh,
Lecithin.
lecithin and the yogurt would take the place of, say, like what in a traditional chicken pot pie? Is that the cream of mushroom soup,
No,
possibly? What
no,
is
no,
it
no,
taking?
no. This is, remember, we're just making butter. So this is not like a component part to the vegetables and the meat and the cream in the chicken pot pie. This is just butter. So whatever
Okay.
you would use butter in, that's what you're going to use this for. For our chicken pot pie, we're making an all butter pie crust.
That makes sense.
That's where this is going to go. Okay.
Gotcha. Thank
All
you.
right. Yep. Here we go. I can see in my camera that the side of this lecithin is not going all the way down. So I want to get that. I just want to grab all of that. I'm going to grab a spatula just to get that off the side and get it incorporated. Otherwise, what's the point, right? So many of these recipes, you guys, are very forgiving. They really are. We do a lot of measuring and kind of weighing to get things as accurate or as close as possible. But honestly, where do I want to put this? Honestly, unless you're doing like serious baking, which I do, you can improv. You're fine. You are fine. So if you've got a little extra, a little less, you're okay. Okay, that's enough of that. Now, maybe in real life, I would have taken this a little bit further, but for time's sake, let's get on with it, right? So I'm going to take this out. I want to show you all this mold that I found on probably Amazon, which is fine. Watch this. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now you can do this. Each one of these molds has 8 tablespoons and it has the ridges right there with it. But sometimes because I weigh so much of what I use, I can just pour this right into a container and then I can pull it out and weigh it for my recipe. And I'm going to be golden. Okay. All right. I'm going to have Teresa take this. No, that's going to, more of that needs to go in there. So what you would do is you just kind of shake that down. Okay, get some of those air bubbles out of there. There you go. And it comes with a lid, which is awesome. And then I pop this in the freezer because I want this to come together and solidify really, really fast. I don't want a lot of downtime on this thing so that that separation thing happens, okay? So this is going in my freezer, and I'm going to come out and I'm going to show you one that we've already got. When we get ready to make our pie crust, I want you to see what we're working with. Stick of butter. A beautiful stick of butter that has tablespoons measured out for me already. Okay. 8 tablespoons, 112.5 grams of butter. There we go. I got to get this back in the refrigerator so that when I show you how to make pie crust, we have cold butter. But this is what we did. Isn't that cool? I think it's very cool. I put this butter on popcorn. I make cookies with it. I bake bread with it and muffins and cake and anything else that you can think of putting butter. Gravy, all of it. I'm using this butter, okay? All right. What's up next? Next, I think we've got to start working on this actual pot pie. So these are 2 big fat component parts that we put together, okay? So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to get some of this stuff out of the way. Here. I don't need that either. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start cooking this pie. Putting this thing together. I don't need this anymore. And I'm going to use this burner because it's just right here over, it's under this, this camera. So I'm hoping that this will work really well. Heads up. All right, we've got fire. That's great. So for the actual chicken pot pie, we've got all of your traditionals, okay? Get that pan on there. I'm gonna go in with some olive oil here. I think your recipe says something like, I don't know, 2 or so tablespoons. Okay. And I'm gonna let that come up. I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit. I want that to come up, get nice and warm, nice and hot. We're gonna go in with chopped onion, chopped celery, chopped carrot, and some cubed potatoes. These potatoes are the waxy kind. They're Yukons or the little yellow, or you could do little red potatoes, the new potatoes. I wouldn't go russet. Let me tell you why. You want this potato to hold itself together. And the waxy part of this kind of potato holds it together. Russets are great for baking, and they make these really lovely, fluffy, kind of melt in your mouth type baked potatoes, the interior of a baked potato, or some really great mashed potatoes. But here, I want to be able to find my potato in my pot pie when I break into it and I go to eat it, okay? I don't want mush. All right, so that's why we're going to go with this kind of potato here. I'm going in with onion. And actually, I'm going in with any and all of it because I don't need to, I got to learn this burner a little bit. I can turn that down. I don't need to time the cooking of all of these things. It's all going to cook together, okay? We're going to let that go. We're actually going to let it go so far that we end up with, here, dear, we end up with onions and potatoes that are browned a little bit. You know how when maybe Sunday or Saturday mornings, when it's time to have really delicious potatoes with onions, you know that smell of potatoes and onions in your house? That's what this starts to smell like. I need you to know that. Right now, I just want to get everybody in the pool. I want to get everybody coated in a little bit of that oil. And I don't do a lot of seasoning on this. I don't need to. These veggies, they cook down in a way that sweetens them, that gives them a whole Maillard effect and a really, really developed flavor. So sweet onions, delicious potato, sweet carrot, that savory celery, it's all going to come together and do its magic, okay? I'm going to hit it with a little salt and pepper, and that's really it, all right? There you go. Salt. And a little pepper. Maybe a lot of pepper. It's good. Keep in mind, this is your pot pie. It gets to taste like whatever you want it to taste like. That's super important, and it's the reason why I don't follow a lot of recipes for savory meals. I taste as I go, I smell as I go, I look at it, I get all of the sensory cues that I need to know if we're hitting what we need to hit. Okay, so we're gonna let this go and work its magic. And what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to switch up and I'm going to bring over and we're going to talk about the chicken, okay? So I'm going to start this up. Wrong burner. All right. You guys can continue to watch this if you like. It's going to be on the back camera. Turn that down. This is on about a medium heat, not a medium high heat because it's going to go for a while, but about a medium heat. I'm not sure if you can see that on this camera. But there's nothing on this camera. I don't know.
We could just see it just a minute ago, Kisa.
You could?
Yeah, I see it.
You see this? You see my finger?
Yes, back away.
Oh, okay. Great. All right. Sorry. All right. On to the next then. Let Olivia do her own magic, right? I can just do one thing and she can do the other thing and Auntie can do a thing. Teresa can do a thing. I'm going to start over here with a cast iron skillet for this chicken, which tends to come together really fast. I'm also going to get something to put my spoon down. It's been holding me hostage. All right, and again, we're going to come in with some olive oil. And not only am I going to hit this with olive oil, now listen, we're going to do meat, right? We're going to make meat. And we're going to figure out how to make this vegan stuff taste as meaty and as flavorful as possible. I want you to remember what meat is. Meat is fat. Meat has an acidic quality to it. Meat is generally kind of a salty thing. So we don't have to go to meat to get all of those things where it's not controlled, the amount of fat, the amount of acid, the amount of salt. We can control all of that right here. And I'm going to show you how. All right. Here, I am working with a couple of things. Let me tell you guys a story. I went to Whole Foods, like I always do, to get my favorite brand of vegan chicken, whatever you want to call it, which is by Abbott. Oh, I should do it this way, okay? And they had like one box. So I like Abbott. Remember I told you guys I'm going to show you how to source your food. I like Abbott because of what's on the back. Let me read the ingredients here. The ingredients for Abbott meat are water, pea protein, extra virgin olive oil, vinegar, sea salt, onion powder, nutritional yeast, garlic powder, turmeric, sage, celery seed, thyme, marjoram, mace, and white pepper. I have every single one of those things with the exception of the pea protein in my pantry. Every last one of them are in my pantry. If I can read it on the back and I can point to it in my own pantry or at least on the grocery store shelf, I am apt to buy that. If it's got stuff in it that I don't normally get, xanthan gum, which I have learned gives me a migraine, and other different yeast extracts and all this other kind of stuff, I stay away from it. Well, it only had one box, and I've already made this box. This box is empty, you guys. There's nothing in it. I've already cooked this one. So then what did I do? I ended up having to source another one. So I ended up finding these soy curls. Now that one was pea protein based, right? So it's made out of peas, legumes. This one is made out of soy, which is also a legume, but it's soy. So let's see what this one has in it. Whole non-GMO soybeans. There's nothing else there. I can eat this. It's a whole food. Okay. So when you're looking at what it is that you are going to be using to substitute foods with, I've got to stir these potatoes. When you're thinking about what are you going to source some sort of vegan option with, just try to stay as clean as you can. Try to keep as much of the additives, preservatives, things you cannot name, keep that off of the package. If that's not on the package, you're probably golden. All right, these guys are still doing their thing. They're looking good. All right, that's that. This is nice and hot. With these soy curls, I have to tell you, they're a little bit different. You'll notice they only had soybeans in there, which is fine, but that means they're not very well flavored at all. And so they also had instructions because they come dry where you had to soak them. So these are soaked, and let me show you. They're soaked, and so they're kind of chickeny. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze out the water from this. And you might be wondering why. I'm doing that because I'm going to treat this like I treat tofu. When I make tofu, I generally try to get all of the excess liquid out of the tofu. Do you know why we do that? Asian culture has taught us that if you do that, then you pulled out the water, which would have blocked your flavoring from getting into your food. So if you pull out the water, you don't have any more blockage. Whatever flavoring you want to put into your food, it can actually enter into that tofu. I'm treating this the same way because it has very little flavor. So we're going in. I'm going to wring them out just a little bit. And go in. And then I'm going to show you what we're going to season this with. Just want to that out as much as possible. That's enough. All right, let's get rid of that. All right, we're going to let this go. Turn this up a bit. The other thing I was telling you about, you guys, I'm going to rinse my hands off. The other thing that I was saying was that because meat is meat, meat is fat. I'm going to add a little extra fat here to this meat. Now, I didn't add it to the whole dish, but I am going to add it, and this is coconut oil. It's kind of a different flavor and a different quality fat besides the olive oil. Coconut oil is kind of that oil that you think of when you bite into a taco and like meat juice runs down your arm. That's what that kind of fat is. And I want to add it to this chicken because I want to be able to get as close to what my family and friends are used to eating. You know, as the veganizer, I really don't want you to be like, oh, that tastes really vegan. I don't really know what that means because I make good vegan food. But if that's what you say, then I haven't done my job. Okay.
Hey, Kisa, we have another question.
Nice.
This is from Laura M. And she wants to know, where did you buy the soy curls?
Good question. Amazon. Amazon has the soy curls. And they come 3 packages in one order. And they're good size packages. All right. So that's that. I'm going to turn this off.
Kisa, people are staying engaged. We have another question from Kristen. How much coconut oil did you add? And I don't see that in the recipe.
Yep, I told you to keep your pen near your recipe because I improv all of the time. So it's about a tablespoon, a fat tablespoon of oil. of the coconut oil. All right. Here's the next thing we're doing. We're going to season this up. Now I'm going to hit this with my salt. Salt is in meat. We're used to salt being in meat. This is soy sauce. I just kind of want to touch everybody with a little bit of a drizzle of soy sauce. Meat has uric acid in it. Yes, uric. It's what you think it is. It comes from an animal. Well, I want to see if I can mimic that because it's something that people really do enjoy about meat. So in order for me to do it, I'm going to hit this with a little red wine vinegar. That's my acid. Now I'm going to go in with kind of the basic usual suspects here. Here's some garlic powder. I told you guys I don't really measure out when I'm doing savory food. Here's my onion powder. Okay. These are a couple of spices I've gotten from Burlap and Barrel. I really do like flavors from around the world. This is sazon. It's on your list. It is a matter of a combination of peppers, dried peppers, usually kind of traditionally used in Puerto Rican food. It's delicious. This is adobo. Adobo is also kind of one of those foods or one of those seasonings that many other cultures besides American cultures do tend to go for. It really punches up all kinds of the savoriness of a food. This is my red, my cayenne pepper. All right.
Kisa,
Yes.
can you use tofu instead of the soy curls? That's for Melissa.
You probably could. Make sure it's extra firm tofu. Make sure you have really gotten all of that water out of there, like we said. You guys look at this as it's starting to kind of brown up. Isn't that lovely? Oh, that's why this is here, so that you could see. How about that, guys? I didn't turn on my light.
And
All right.
while you're mixing up, Kisa, we have a recommendation. I kind of wanted to get your feel on it.
Yeah.
Jody Lynn says it's highly recommended ordering soy curls directly from Butler Foods. They
Oh,
are the
really?
only company who makes them. They always include fun freebie samples in orders, and they drop the link. Thanks, Jody. Jody Lynn.
Yeah. All right, you guys, the next thing that is probably not on your recipe list is this stuff right here. This is by Zoop. It's called Savory. It's like a chicken bouillon, okay? And it's liquid. Now, in the past, lots of restaurants will have used something like Marmite, that thing that you see on recipes where they say yeast extract. That's giving that little extra salty savoriness. Well, Zoop does a really good job. It's a vegan bouillon, basically. I'm going to also come in here with some water now. These little soy curls, they soak up some stuff. Do you hear me? They
I
really,
know your
really
kitchen
do.
is smelling good right now.
They soak up all of that seasoning. Look at this. You tell me this doesn't look like chicken. I'm also going to taste it because you should taste your food as you go. Some of you might be able to see that pot pie in the background. We have a pot pie that's come out of the oven. I can't wait to taste that one for you. I wish you could taste it with me. All right. So this has gotten all those flavors. That savory is off my spoon now. And let's see, let me find a little tiny piece that I can taste. Whew. It's going to be so hot. I want salt. Please taste your food as you go.
Kisa, would it make a difference if, say, for example, you're trying to get in some more vegetables? If you added green beans, would that change anything to your potatoes and celery and onion carrot mix, right? It wouldn't.
Your green beans, add some kale, some chopped up spinach. get some broccoli in there, put a little corn in there. This is your pot pie. You get to put in there whatever you want. And just keep in mind, this is why you can improv and you can riff, right? Because there's no right or wrong about that interior, about that filling. It gets to be filled with whatever it is that you want. So absolutely. You don't have to put this in it. You don't have to put a chickeny thing in there, but remember that's what we're doing. So, all right, this has, again, soaked up all of this beautiful flavoring. This gets really hot, this cast iron skillet. I like to treat my meat the way I would have treated it in the past if it was real meat. So I use a cast iron skillet. I wouldn't for that tofu though. I would use a nonstick skillet, okay? All right, so that's that. This is now going into, I've got to switch hands. Got a little carpal tunnel here, you guys, so got to be careful. This is going over into these veggies, which as you can see have some char and some oil, some sweetness to them. We're going to go in here. Sorry for that sound, you guys. All right. So I had to turn off my veggies because they were done. Look at this. I don't know if I should bring this over or you guys, Angie, can you see this?
We absolutely can see it's a close-up.
Awesome. Okay, then I won't bother it. All right, in a minute, I'm going to make this creamy, okay? But let me show you what we're going to do to make the actual cream. All right. This burner is done now. Well, maybe not all the way done because I'll bring it over to make the cream, to put the cream in. So I'll just move it like that. All right. To make the cream, we're going to revisit that milk, okay? You guys, this is nutritional yeast that I'm setting here because all these other ingredients had to be refrigerated. Let me go grab them. I've got some milk that I already made and I put it in this mason jar. I'm grabbing the mayo and the Dijon. Okay. And
Vegan mayo, of course.
again, because I'm riffing, as I improv, move this off of here. All right. Tell me you can see this. This is milk. And this is, I don't know, I'm going to say about 3/4 of a cup. I'm going to go in with, I don't remember just how much I told you guys on that recipe. I'm going to go in with big fat heaping tea-like tablespoons of mayo. This is by Veganizer. Again, you can tell I like fat. Don't judge me. I'm not playing with y'all. Don't judge me. I like fat and flavor and salt, and I'm not playing. But this is fat, right? Mayo is fat. And so when we look at the ingredients here, let's read them. We've got avocado oil, safflower oil, filtered water, brown rice syrup, apple cider vinegar, pea protein again, sea salt, mustard, lemon juice. I think we can do this. All right. So we're going to put that in. I'm going to grab one other spoon.
Kisa, do you want to talk a little bit while you're getting your ingredients together for your cream about the value of yeast? Like what's the purpose of it in this particular dish?
So the yeast, the nutritional yeast here, first of all, nutritional yeast is a great source. Sorry for that noise, you guys. Is a great source of B12, especially for vegans, okay? Folks are always concerned that vegans are not getting their protein, vegans aren't getting their B12. We're getting enough. We really are. But nutritional yeast is that, okay? Also, it has this kind of cool little cheesy flavor to it. And it brings, I think it brings a bit of umami. Umami is always that savory kind of body that you feel and that you taste in the best savory dishes, okay? Oh, this is really full. I'm going to have to go differently here. That's really full. I'm going to dump There we go. Here, babe. Because what I want to be able to do, I've got 2 really big fat tablespoons, I'm sure, of that nutritional yeast in there. I can take that lid, babe. Okay? That lid. I'll take the lid back. Oh, I never gave you the lid. I have it. I'm just going to throw the lid on here. Shake it. I'm trying to break up the mayo, mix in the mustard, as well as the yeast flakes, okay? And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring our handy dandy burner back, and we're going to watch the magic of making cream. I think I need matches again.
Kisa, if I'm wondering it, maybe someone else is.
Huh?
What is the point of the mustard? Talk to me. I know we
Flavor.
put mustard in potato salad, but what's
Flavor. It's what you
flavor?
think it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Vegans are always looking for flavor. All the time. Give me more flavor. And so I look for big flavor bombs wherever I can find it. Mustard packs a punch. You saw I didn't put very much in there. It does pack a punch. It has some nice, it's going to kind of give it some more acid, a little more salt, a little tang, but it's just going to ride underneath all of the flavors there. It's not going to be anything overpowering. This is not a mustard based kind of filling for this pot pie. I'm letting this thing get hot again because I had turned it off, you remember. Starting to sizzle a little bit. I want this nice and hot because when I pour in my cream, it's going to do the same thing that heavy cream would do, but I don't have the tallow, the cholesterol, the fats that are in there. These are cashews. This is a whole food, all right? But it's going to be a silky, velvety, rich cream. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're getting close. We are getting close.
Scan time, 9 minutes.
Ouch. All right, this is going in. And you might use it all, you might not. I want that a little higher. My cold cream kind of stopped the action there. I don't want that. Do you see this coming together? I think that's going to be about it for me. And as that comes together, Angie, you're going to be so jealous because I'm going to taste this. I'm going to be so jealous.
I'm already jealous.
I know you are. I know you are, but what am I? All right. I want this to thicken a little bit. I went in the freezer and got the peas. Remember, anything that you use frozen, whether it's your peas or even your carrots, right? Put them in last so that they don't become mush. Okay. This is doing its thing. In fact, I think I'm going to turn down a little bit. Before I put these ice cold peas in here, I do want to taste this. I got a different spoon. Mostly I want to taste the sauce. Not the chicken so much, but whatever. I'll take a potato. Here we go.
Laura M says, looks so good, and it does.
Laura, make this. Make it. It's so good. Put a few little peas in here. Put as many as you like. I like peas. Now tell me this doesn't look like your traditional chicken pot pie filling. It does. All right, this guy is done. Turn him off. Now, you'll notice in your recipe that this has got to cool before it can go into a pie crust. Let me get my peas back in the freezer. So, This has to go into a container or in the refrigerator just like this. It needs to cool down. I'm going to put this on the back burner here because I've already got some ready to go. All right, let me show you what I'm working with here. Where's my pot pie? Oh. That was scary, you guys. I went in the refrigerator and there was nothing there. I couldn't find anything. All right, what I've done is I've made my pie crust. I rolled it out. I put it into my pan. I poked little holes in it with a knife. I put it in the freezer, just like it says in your recipe. And then I came in and I put my cold filling into my pie crust. Notice my pie crust is hanging over the edge of this this pan, right? Because it's going to shrink up a little bit as it starts to cook. All right. The last thing we have to do is we need to roll out another pie crust and put it on the top. All right. So I'm going to put this back. Yep, baby, you're right. I need that. No, I don't need that. Yes, I do need that. Yeah, time is getting away from me, isn't it? So we're going to go ahead and roll out a pie crust just so that you guys can see what an all butter pie crust is going to do. An all vegan butter pie crust. It's going to do what you think it's going to do. It's going to act right. So I don't know that I have time to actually put this together for you in the Cuisinart, but I do have it measured out.
It's okay if you go a little bit over, Kisa. It's up to you, but people can leave if they need to. They
If
can
they
always
need
watch the
to.
recording afterwards, but we can
Okay,
definitely stay a little bit longer for you to go through it if you'd
that
like.
sounds awesome. Thank you. All
Of course.
right, so I have a pie crust here that has been in the refrigerator. So we're going to do this backwards, right? So now you've already seen a finished pie crust. Now you're seeing me bring out a cold disc, a cold dough. All right, so that's there. I'm going to roll this out and I'm going to get it ready to put on top of our pie that's already in the freezer. So you want this as cold as possible because you don't want all this flour to really get super duper reabsorbed back into this this crust. It doesn't need that. So you're going to flour your bench and then you're going to start kind of from the middle and you're going to give some force, turn it, give some force, turn it, give some force, turn it. And you just kind of keep doing this until the thing comes together. And when you have this happen, you just do like you did when you were a kid and you were playing with Play-Doh. You put it back together. And in this kind of pie, these kinds of imperfections, they're not you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so you notice I'm just kind of turning about 45 degrees every time. Push it out, turn, push it out, push it out. All right. And this pie crust, this dough is cold and it needs to stay cold. You don't want this to really warm up on you. Vegan butter melts like nobody's business because coconut oil will very quickly melt. And remember, that's what a lot of our butter is. All right. You can maybe see, I want you to see if you can see this. I don't know if you can see this, but here is a big old chunk of butter. Here is a chunk of butter. Here is a chunk of butter. And I'm going to show you how we got those chunks. You want them. Trust me, you do. You want them. It's science. So this is where we don't riff too much. We use science here. And we want the proteins in the flour and the proteins in the oil to do their magic. And so we need some of it to, well, we need all this butter to stay cold until it hits that oven. And then also we want this not to start to separate and break down. I'm going to bring out our half-made pie. I'm just going to take my rolling pin. I'm going to roll it up over here. Put my pie there. Pick up my pie crust and roll it over the top, right? Then I'm going to tuck. Now, you could cut off the excess if you like. I try not to leave too much excess, so I'm just going to kind of tuck this. I do have some here. I'm just going to cut that off. Again, we still have an overhang on this pan because this dough is going to shrink as we bake it up, okay? Now that's your basic dough. Of course, you can go and you can crimp it real pretty if you like. This is the way I crimp, which may not be the way you crimp. Crimping is a matter of creativity. Okay. And then the other thing that you got to do, don't lose your pie crust. The other thing you got to do is you got to vent this thing. Okay. So you've got to make some steam pockets here because as this cooks, we're going to have steam that comes out of it. And we want that to come out and not blow up our pie crust. So with kind of this excess, you can make something pretty if you like. I don't know. I am making things up right now because I feel rushed.
You're doing great, kiddo. Big Mama would be proud that you didn't waste any of that pie crust.
I'm not wasting any of it. I still have bits of pie crust in the refrigerator that I will not let go to waste. All right. This is going back into the freezer, okay? When this comes out, we're going to melt, and I don't know that we'll do it on the camera today, but we'll melt some of that butter, just a little bit of it, and we're going to brush over this pie crust like we would with any other pie crust. And the last thing that I like to do is I like to take a little bit of Maldon salt. I got this, I think, in Saugatuck. So a little bit of Maldon salt. How do they do it on YouTube? I think they do it like that. And just put a little bit over the top. I'm not going to do that just yet because this is going in the freezer, okay? And then it would go into a 375-degree oven, middle to the bottom rack, 40 minutes. I've got one that's coming out of the oven right now, but this one still has to set up. Can you make that work? Yeah, I cannot. This is a hot pie. A hot pot pie. This is what we have, you guys. This is our pie. Okay. It looks really, really beautiful to me. I love this golden brown crust. I see the flakes of salt on here. I'm ready to go. And if anybody wants to cut away at 7:30, I wanted you to be able to see this finished pie, okay? And I'm going to cut into it.
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please. I want you to hear this. This is what they call ASMR. Did you hear? This is a flaky crust. Do you hear me? White, flaky. Oh, this is beautiful. This is really beautiful. Oh, yeah.
Kisa, you have a compliment from Kim K and Tom P. They said, I can't believe this is how you crimp the crust and make it look so pretty. I thought a special tool was needed for this. And all I need is my fingers. That was great to learn. Thank you.
All you need are your fingers. These are the best tools ever. All right, let's get down in here. See what we got. This is always, the first piece of pie. It's always scary. Here we go.
Now that's perfection, Kisa.
Well, thank you, Angie. You are not biased at all, are you? I left a little crust behind.
Malaysia says same here.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what this is doing. All right. Let's move that. So I just kind of made it messy because I don't like to leave any of the stuff behind that goes to that slice. That's that slice's piece. So let's see what we did here, ladies and gentlemen. It is hot. First of all, look at this crust. I don't know if you can see the flakes on here.
We totally can see them.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite part. It's not too hot because it's been sitting there out of the oven for a minute. Oh man, this is dinner.
You can
Okay,
taste the
guys, so you're
butter.
gonna put this together and you're gonna make a salad, and you've got like 6 pieces. Or in our case, we make 2 pies and it lasts for an entire week for each of us. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. I'm sorry.
We're all so jealous seeing you eat that. It looks so fantastic.
Man,
And she's not holding back at all. She
I'm
doesn't care
sorry.
about our feelings.
It
That's why
is.
you like to do live demos.
It is why I like to do live demos because I get to share. Let me put this away. Oh, that crust under my teeth. It's just, ooh, y'all. Okay, put this
Lisa
away.
Jody Lynn says you can feel the comfort through the screen. And Kim K says this looks like a great dish for the holidays.
Oh,
With
yeah.
cranberry sauce, that would be so good.
Oh my gosh. In the fall, chicken pot
Mhm.
pie is just woo. And then in the spring, which I think today is the vernal equinox. In the spring, the peas are coming up. Those fresh peas. Oh, the way they just pop right under your teeth. Don't get me started. I like a fresh pea. Okay. I don't know if anyone's hanging around to see that pie crust come together. This is done, babe. If you are, here we go.
Would you mind while Kisa's about to do the pie crust, just in case anyone does have to skedaddle, do you mind dropping one more time the link for the recipes? Because as new people come on, they don't get to see the previous text.
It's still there, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, no, I can definitely share it again.
Thank you so much. And thank you to anybody who joined us but has to go.
Yeah,
Check
looks
out
like
Kisa
people
the
are still
Veganizer.
hanging on.
Yeah, people want to see that.
All right.
Absolutely. It's very engaging watching you cook, Kisa.
Thanks, babe. Yeah, yeah, I need ice because this doesn't have any place to fit in the freezer and I need that ice cold. All right, so then let's make this crust, you guys. For this crust, we start off with 8 cold, 2 in the freezer. I'm going to show you what those look like as well. These are the 8 cold tablespoons, okay? They go on in along with 3/4 of a cup of this flour. This flour is 177 grams. And of that, I'm going to grab only 3/4 of a cup of it. Okay. I've got a mix of sugar and salt here, my tablespoon of sugar and a little bit of salt there. Yeah, I just need a little bit of ice, but. And then I'm going to go ahead and pulse that. You guys, I've got to turn this around a little bit, I think, so that I can kind of see it. All right, so I'm going to pulse the flour, sugar, salt together. Boom, that's it. Then I'm going in with my butter. Just these little cubes are fine. Okay, they are cold. We don't want this melting. Remember, pie crust likes to be very, very cold. So can you give me an ice cube in here, please?
Okay.
Yeah. So now we're going to send this around and around, and we're going to watch this come together like a paste. I'm going to grab a larger bowl. All right. So this is starting to do its thing. It's coming together. Ah, that's what we wanted. You see this, you guys? Can you, this is all now one big clump.
Yes, we
That's what
see
we were
that.
going for. That butter started to bring it all together and hydrate all of that flour and the salt. Now, counterintuitively, I'm about to break this apart again. So I'm going to break it up. Super soft. I told you vegan butter melts so fast. I want to pull this apart into like 1-2 inch pieces, okay? Now we're going to put the rest of this flour in here and let that come together. And we don't want this to be a clump anymore. We want it to kind of be a little bit grainy. So I'm not just going to put it on and let it run. I'm going to pulse it. And now we've got something that looks akin to wet sand and peas. Wet sand and peas. Well, I'll do it right now. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to dump it into this bowl.
We have another great question, Kisa, from M.
Yeah.
Booker. Does this
Yeah.
work with gluten-free flour blends like King Arthur or Bob's Red Mill? I'm sorry.
I think it does. I really do think it does. I don't do a lot of gluten-free cooking. I do have gluten-free friends, and I have to do it every once in a while. But I know that the way they are formulating like especially King Arthur and Bob's Red Mill, they're formulating it so that it will work. You don't have to do a whole lot of magic in order to be able to get a gluten-free product, okay? All right. This now is our kind of sandy mixture. Do not use your hands where you don't need to use them for your pie crust. Your hands are warm. We want this cold. Coconut oil melts so fast under the warmth of your fingers and your hands, okay? Let me show you what I've done next. You know, your recipe says that then you have 2 tablespoons of grated butter. This butter is grated and it's been in the freezer, okay? So this is, remember I was pointing out to you those little butter chunks that were in the pie crust?
Mm-hmm.
This is where they came from. I didn't take them through the food processor. They are pretty much still whole chunks. I've made them really fine because I took 2 tablespoons of butter frozen on my box grater, and I got this product, right? This little grated butter. I just want to get as much of that off as I can.
This is totally random and really a greedy question on my part, but Kisa, I'm wondering, do you do that for your apple crisp too? Because I've tried to make my apple crisp taste like yours and it doesn't. And I'm wondering if you have been holding out the secret.
No, I do not do this for my apple crisp. What I do for my apple crisp is I take cold butter and I put I put butter, flour, the oatmeal, sugar, all in a Ziploc baggie. And then I start doing like this with it. And then I throw it back in the refrigerator, make it cold. And then I put the crumbles on top of my apple crisp. So there you go, greedy Angie. There you go. All right, here we go. We're almost there, you guys. We have one last thing to do. And that is to sprinkle on some ice cold water. You getting the theme here? Everything here is ice cold. Babe, if you could start to clean me off, that'd be really helpful. And then get me saran wrap. So there's a big ice cube. This is ice. I'm going to take the ice out of the water, okay? I really, really, really needed this water to be superty duperty cold. This is about a quarter of a cup of water, and you may not use it all. You want your pie crust, this dough, to be a little bit dry. You don't want it to be like super, I don't know how to call it, like pasty and soft,
Gummy.
wet. You don't want that. You want it to be a little bit dry. This is already coming together nicely. And I used only 2 tablespoons of that quarter cup. All right. Because this is doing its thing, I'm not putting any more water in there. I just refuse. I would rather it be a little bit on the dry side so that we can get that flaky crust. That butter's going to do its work. Trust. We don't need water to do all the work. Water will overhydrate this flour. I'm just taking a piece of saran and I'm going to dump this out onto the saran wrap. Yep, in its pieces and clumps, and that's fine. I'm going to take my knife, clean off my spatula, get all this goodness in here. I mean, it really is. It's wetter than I thought it was going to be with those couple of tablespoons of ice water. Now, I'm going to use the backs of my hand, the least hot part of my body. And I'm going to start to bring this together just like this, using the plastic wrap to make the clump. I want to create a round, a disc. Remember what we pulled out of the refrigerator and what we rolled out? Also, if you can see this, I don't know if you can see it, you can see pieces of butter. I don't know if you can see that. Pieces of butter. You still see a little bit of flour, not a lot. And then I'm going to go in super tight, as tight as I can, get that wrapped up. And I like for it to be shaped already kind of like this, because then when I go to roll it out, I'm not contending with this square or rectangular piece of dough. It's kind of already round. So when I roll and twist and roll and twist, I'm really just kind of elongating and expanding the disc. Smash it down. You're taking as much air out of there as possible. Get that sucker in the refrigerator. It's got to stay there at least 2 to 3 hours. I think it's best overnight. And that's it, you guys. That's all of it. That's all I got for today. Is this okay, Olivia?
That was fantastic, Kisa. Really, so informative, so thorough, so engaging.
Very good.
And yes, I think I can definitely say we're all jealous that you're eating that pie tonight. And I cook all the time, and I still learned so many new great tips from you. So
I'm
thank
glad.
you so, so much.
This has been my pleasure and my privilege. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this, VegMichigan. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys around.